G'day guys and gal, we all need a bit of motivation in life, someone to push us out of our comfort zone and help us reach our full potential. Someone to put their hand on your shoulder, look at you and say, if you don't fix your Emperor damn bayonet and charge that tower railgun in the next 5 seconds, I will shove this gun so far up your ass that you'll be puking bolt shells out for the rest of your short, painful life. Riveting stuff. In seriousness, there's more to Commissars than just shooting their subordinates in the back of their heads for cowardice, or because they talk smack, or because the Commissar is bored. They aren't just high-ranking guardsmen. The Commissariat is a completely separate body that operates outside the chain of command, meaning in some situations, they have absolute authority over everyone, and in others, they are just there to look pretty. Regardless, the Commissars are an interesting bunch, and are definitely worth the next 10 minutes of your time. Before we get started, people who say that you should always be humble and never reach too far can suck on a waterlogged didgeridoo. I want to be a Lord Majorkill. And cheers to today's sponsor, Established Titles. That dream is finally a reality. I'm not joking, here is my official paper thingo that makes me a Lord, and here's how you can get on my level as well as how it all works. Basically, you buy a small 1 square foot plot of land in Scotland, which by legitimate technicality makes you a Lord. You can then place your newfound title of Lord on any piece of official documentation that accepts titles. Stuff that would usually allow Mr., Mrs. or Doctor are all eligible for you to have Lord there. To top it all off, Established Titles will plant a tree for every purchase. Helping the environment slaps hard, so what a nice cherry on top. The plot isn't imaginary. You can straight up slap its coordinates and maps and see it. You can probably even visit it. Going even further, if you use my link below, not only will you get 10% off any order, which will go on an already massive sale they're currently running, but all orders from my link will have our plots of land put together, meaning we can make our own little kingdom. Who knows? Maybe we can declare war and steal other people's lordship. Nah. Unless. Cheers to Established Titles for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over Commissars, how they're chosen and trained, what their purpose is, and how far their authority extends, before looking at some of the most famous examples of Commissars. Let's get into it. Before we get into how a Commissar is put together, where the fuck did they come from? And whose idea was it to start kablamming wavering troops? Well, in the early days of the Great Crusade, before Horus jihaded the Emperor's tits and ruined everything, guardsmen weren't very regimented. There was the Imperial army and they were effective, but as long as they could kill the enemy, they weren't particularly standardized. During this time, some of the messy regiments started experimenting with discipline masters. No, that's not slang for BDSM dominatrixes. These veterans would join a regiment and maintain discipline whilst ensuring the practice of the imperial truth. Any soldier that was seen as being a coward, a traitor, or just a tool would find their head removed from their body by the discipline master's electro scythes. Yeah, these guys didn't fuck around. They would even employ the use of eagles to maintain watch on their forces. When the heresy broke out, around 40 to 50% of the Imperial army joined Horus and drank the Chaos Kool-Aid. Their discipline masters were either killed or in some cases fell alongside them, probably to Slanesh. Many regiments that remained loyalists did so thanks to the influence of a disciplined master, who was able to pull them out in time. When the heresy ended, the Imperial army was split up into various sub-factions to prevent any one man from holding too much power. The Commissariat, inspired by the disciplined masters, was also formed, an order of elite loyal veterans who would watch over guardsmen regiments to ensure they didn't start fingering cats or start building little thrones made of frog skulls or some shit. The Commissariat has not changed much in the past 10,000 years. Its responsibilities have grown to also include maintaining regimental morale and discipline no matter what, as well as, ironically, ensuring their regiment praised the Emperor as a god, something the original discipline masters were tasked with battling against. A Commissar's authority can extend quite far as they aren't a part of the command structure. Although they are designed to act as advisors and role models, if they deem it necessary, they can get very involved with the workings of a regiment. If needed, they can straight up blow the brains out of the commanding officer of the regiment and take command. They have been known to lead entire armies on rare occasions, such as when Commissar Yarrick took command of the Steel Legion, or Commissar Gaunt taking over the Tanith First and Only. A Commissar can't just do whatever they want though. If they just start shooting the men around them for a laugh, they will either get shot down themselves or restrained. They will then face a trial by the Commissariat and likely severely punished. There was one Commissar who lost his shit and had a mental breakdown. He randomly began executing the guardsmen around him and got tackled. As his punishment, he was stripped of rank and title and pumped full of combat stims while having his brain rewired. He was then used as slave muscle by Inquisitor Amberly Vale. In a similar vein, if a commissar is overzealous with his executions and punishments, yet doesn't break the official rules, it's very common for that commissar to find themselves the victim of friendly fire in the heat of battle. Commissar Kane specifically teaches his students to show restraint and mercy as a commissar for this very reason. In theory, a commissar can even override and execute a lord commander of an entire army, although unless the reason was very fucking good, they will cop a massive spanking afterwards. Whilst the Commissar's authority is absolute over the Imperial Army forces, they have zero authority over the Mechanicus, Adeptus Sororitas, or Adeptus Astartes, despite the fact that they will sometimes be attached to an Astartes chapter for a time. Likewise, those Imperial subfactions have no authority over a Commissar, although it's probably a pretty good idea to do what a Space Marine tells you. So how does one become a Commissar? After all, each Commissar is supposed to be an unbreakable, unwavering icon of Imperial authority and strength. It wouldn't be great for morale if the Commissars were the ones running away like cowards. To explain this, there exists the Schola Progenium, which is like a college for the children of elite Imperial citizens. Maybe the family is rich, maybe they have good connections, maybe they are the child of an Imperial commander. You get the picture. On some rare occasions, low-born children are taken into the Schola if they are especially brilliant, or in Commissar Kane's situation, both these parents died in battle and were war heroes, so the orphaned Kane was taken in by the Schola as a thanks to his parents' sacrifice. From there, each student in the Schola is assigned to whatever sub-branch fits them best. This could be the Minitorum, the Administratum, Elite Stormtroopers, Junior Inquisitors, or the Commissariat. There are other potential options as well, but you know, who cares about those? From there, the wannabe commissar becomes a cadet and is tutored by a fully fledged commissar. They will often experience numerous battles and life or death situations before eventually being inducted as a real life commissar, or you know, more likely they'll just die. If a commissar cadet shows fear or cowardice on the battlefield, it instantly disqualifies them, and by disqualify, I mean they get shot in the brain. This is pretty rare though. Cadets are very zealous, having been raised and taught by the best from childhood. They often fight harder and better than elite veteran guardsmen. After all, a cadet will have received years of sword fighting, firearms, tactics, and war training from the best in the Imperium before they turn 18, so it's no wonder why they all seem to be gigachads. From here, commissars can climb the rank to Colonel Commissar, Lord Commissar, even a Commissar Captain, but all these promotions are superficial and don't really change their level of authority. They're more so just ways to help confuse guardsmen under their care if a Commissar does have to step in to show them how to clean their foreskins. Now let's suss out some of the best and well-known Commissars. First up is my boy Commissar Caiaphas Kane. He'll get his own video soon as I'm currently finishing the final Kane book in the series, but to sum it up, this dude is actually one of the greatest heroes in the entire Imperium. He downplays his antics and success, calls himself a coward, and pretends that he's just lucky, but in reality, this guy is a fucking beast. He's one of the greatest mortal swordsmen in the entire galaxy, able to duel with, taunt, and even outclass a Khornite berserker. He will charge headfirst into the most dangerous situations if that's what must be done to protect those under his command. He has saved billions of lives and even thwarted Abaddon himself, all with just the help of his chainsword, trusty las pistol, massive fucking biceps, even bigger balls, and most importantly of all, his ever-reliable aide Jurgen, who conveniently happens to be a blank. Commissar Sebastian Yarrick is considered to be the greatest commissar to ever live, leading the Imperium to victory over the Orcs during the Second and Third Wars of Armageddon. He was so impressive that the leader of the Orcs, an Orc so powerful that he is about to become a Krork, which are just as strong if not stronger than Primarchs, chose him as his arch rival. He didn't choose any of the Black Templars he had fought against, he didn't even choose the Space Wolf who cut his head off. Yes, that lore exists, and yes, it was dumb, and yes, he got his head glued back on. He chose Yarrick as he saw him as the greatest threat to the Orcs in the entire galaxy. The dude lost his arm and replaced it with an Orc power claw, for fuck's sake. That should be impossible, but for Yarrick it's just a Tuesday. Then there is the most hardcore commissar, Commissar Ibram Gaunt. Gaunt was given a pretty challenging task from day one. The world of Tanith was taken over by chaos and destroyed, killing every Tanith regiment except his own. From there, he waged a brutal guerrilla war against all manner of enemy, making his small battered regiment feel like an entire Astartes chapter with how much death and suffering they rained upon the enemy. Trust me, Tanith was avenged multiple times over. Pretty sure Khorne has just been jerking his gherkin to Imperium Gaunt for the last little while. I haven't read the Gaunt's Go series yet, but I've heard it's awesome, which to be fair, nearly everything written by Dan Abnett is, but once I do, you bet your ass a chunky video on Gaunt is on its way. Hopefully now you understand my respect and admiration for Commissars. They aren't just trigger-happy sadists that blow their subordinates' brains out for forgetting to head check before merging into a different lane. Although some short-lived Commissars do that, they are bastions of Imperial strength, facing down and overcoming forces that would buckle most men and even Astartes. As long as you aren't a pussy, they'll be the main thing that gets you in and out of battle in one piece. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Only $1 per month give you access to a boatload of battle mace 40 million boobs. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more sadistically admirable content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.